I can't work.
Let's start all over again here. Nice, that looks much better anyway.
Does it?
Now you look handsomer. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Slate your name.
Hi, my name's Tweedy. That's what I'm known as. It's not my real name, but that's what I'm known as. I studied clown on the road. I left school. I left school and I joined a circus, and I learnt traditional European style clowning to start with. And one of my main tutors back then was Johnny Hutch, who's a comedy acrobat and best known as the little bald man in Benny Hill that used to get his head slapped. So I learnt a lot from him. Recently, my voice, sorry. Most recently, Bill Irwin, David Shiner have been a big influence on me. Earlier, Stan Laurel was always a big influence, and all the kind of silent comics of that era. Although I joined circus early in my career, and circus has been the majority of my work, theatre is more what I'm drawn to. People have influenced my work, mainly downtrodden characters, losers, people that are just struggling against life. That's where I kind of draw most of my inspiration for my comedy from. Yeah, it's basically people that are in trouble and struggling, and life's a battle. My first memory of a clown as a child was at the circus and the clown saying silly sausage, and I just thought that was hilarious, and said silly sausage for a long time. Well, still do occasionally. And my first kind of real memory as a performer was the first time I performed in a circus ring in Europe, which was completely by accident. The main clown got stuck in traffic, and there was no one else to do it, so I rushed in and did it, and got offered a job off the back of my improv of filling in while the other clown got out of traffic. So yeah, that was a big moment in my clowning career. Performing my solo stage show at the Edinburgh Festival was very good. That's kind of been my goal since I decided I wanted to be a clown. I saw Avner, the eccentric show, at the Edinburgh Festival, because I'm from Scotland, when I was still at school, and that's kind of what I knew then. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have a stage show where it was just myself on stage performing, and yeah, it took me quite a while to get there. I kind of went a bizarre route through circus and ended up back and performing at the Edinburgh Festival, where I saw him with my own show. So I got there eventually. Adversity it's a great thing for a clown, and obviously it's not a great thing in real life, but you take that situation and then turn it into a comedy situation. I wrote a kids' TV show which hasn't been made yet. It nearly did by the BBC, and all the episodes for that was taken from real life situations that I had. In a period when I had no work, I took odd jobs as a delivery driver in a warehouse, and at the end of the day I just write down the kind of mess I got in. Because I'm a clown, I just naturally screwed each job up and got sacked. So I took the bad situation and turned it into comedy. So adversity, although it's a bad thing, is a good thing for a clown. My process of coming up with kind of new material and things like that is usually by improvising, purely by play. I'll just take a random prop and take it out if I'm doing a show, maybe before the show or just in the street even, and I'll just play with it. And if it doesn't work, then I'll ditch the idea. If it gets a bit of a laugh and I start finding potential, then I'll work on it a bit more out of the public eye and then take it back in the public eye. But I don't try and not think about it too much, because it gets difficult. I think to sit down and kind of plan it all out is very difficult. So I do tend to just play. And to be funny. Well, actually, there is some clowns that aren't, well, there's quite a lot of clowns that aren't funny, but there are clowns who aren't necessarily hilariously funny, but they are endearing and they are amusing, so it's not necessarily true. No, I don't think there is rules. Anarchy. Clowns, that's what they love, anarchy. Yeah! Oh, that's a tough one. It's physical comedy is kind of the obvious one, and it's a certain type of character that makes a clown. I think you have to kind of warm to a clown's character in a way. But no, that's a difficult question. I often ask various people, what's the difference between an actor and a clown? I've asked kind of writers and directors and actors and things like that, and I've had so many contrasting definitions that it's got even more confusing. It hasn't actually helped. A lot of people say a clown, your clown character is part of you, it comes from within, so you have to be more vulnerable to play the clown because it's part of yourself. And then other people say, well, actually, to be an actor, you have to be more vulnerable because you have to completely rid yourself of your own personality and take on board this whole new character. So I suppose a clown has to really come from you, although some actors always say the characters I develop always come from within, so it's a confusing question. I don't know. I try and achieve to be funny and for the audience to enjoy the performance. With my work, I don't go too deep. I'm not really, there might be a slight message in my work, but I don't like to go too deep and try and sell kind of, some political idea. At the end of the day, I just like to entertain people. I don't know. That's a problem. I've tried so many jobs and they've ended in disaster, like I've said. So yeah, I honestly don't know. Maybe I'd try and be an actor and only play one character. I'm working for Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey for a while, as Mr. Gravity. So I'll be doing that for a while. Just to try it. Don't be afraid to try it. Just get out in front of an audience and fail. Be a failure and be proud to be a failure, because that's the only way you'll learn.